Do you ever look at the world and wonder what the hell is going on? How did Trump get a second term? How can Fredo Frogs cost that much? And how did I end up agreeing with Tucker Carlson more than the person he was talking to? Like, that's never happened before. If you want to see where defending Israel gets you, this clip is particularly enlightening.
Case that we had to do it or whatever, but
Yeah, I agree.
you should weep, and that's evil, and you should just say it's evil. And I know it's like really threatening to
Is it evil, though?
Ben Shapiro to say that or whatever, but
Is it evil?
to kill civilians on purpose, yeah, it is. I think it is.
Really?
Kids and children. Well, how is it not actually?
In a war?
Well, you can call it whatever you want. How is it right to kill women and children?
I didn't say, well, because I think there is a moral right behind you if you are literally...
To kill women and children?
If
Really?
there's a world war that threatens
Call
the
it whatever
entire...
you want.
If it threatens the entire world, yes.
Some people killed your kids, like your 8-year-old. Like,
Well, obviously,
how
it's your
is
own
that
children. Of
morally
course.
justifiable?
Well, because actually you have to... Well, by your criteria...
It's disgusting.
Okay, it's nothing's... So no war is morally justified.
I mean, I think it's pretty hard to justify. I mean, yeah, I'm
Any
sure,
war.
a pure defensive action, sure. But all I'm saying, look, it's all ugly. It's all hard to stomach. I've actually seen some of it up close. It's super ugly. You're arguing against a construct that you created in order to argue against.
Not really.
I'm being super straightforward. If you're
Is there any form of warfare that's morally justified? Go on.
Let me finish. I'm saying when you intentionally kill women and children, when you wage war through fear by murdering the civilian population, I don't think that's a good thing. And I don't think you should be defending it. And I don't know why it's such a threat to say that out loud.
Now, we're not going to spend long on this one, as I think it's fairly self-explanatory. But Harry, how have we got to a state of affairs where Tucker Carlson sounds like the reasonable moderate in a conversation between him and Piers Morgan? What the?
I know it's an interesting one, but then you find yourself in a room with Piers Morgan, you're instantly the most likable person there. Yeah, no, I mean it is quite weird that someone who main defense in court once was that people don't actually see his news show as just as entertainment. It's not actually supposed to be taken on a factual basis. It's quite interesting to see those arguments being made. But yeah, they're 100% right. I mean, how can you justify intentionally and even unintentionally murdering women and children? What threats do, and actually men as well. I think with the coverage with the genocide that's been going on in Palestine, a lot when we talk about the innocents, men are often excluded from that. And I don't know why. I'm sure there's a reason for it. But again, I mean, why? I mean, I think with Piers Morgan, he's tweaking for a state that would happily bomb him, if they thought that he posed a threat. And so it is kind of sad to see, but then it's also not surprising. I mean, when you hack dead girls' phones, nothing's
True.
beneath you.
Yeah, like in Just War Theory, there's like several elements like right intention, just cause, but two of the important ones are proportionality and discrimination. You've got to discriminate between combatants and civilians, and it always has to be proportionate. Your attacks always have to be proportionate to the goals of minimizing civilian harm, minimizing attacks on civilians. And it seems to me that a lot of the Western world has just kind of forgotten what just war theory means, but also it's really hard to argue against Donald Trump invading Canada or Mexico or Panama or Greenland if you're living in a world where for the last 2 years the liberals, the people who are supposed to stand up for international law, have been going, well, international law doesn't really apply when you do it. It's fine. Don't worry about it. No, 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 no. It's fine. Just ignore international law. Don't worry about it. Like, because now, like, what China wants to take Taiwan. Well, international law doesn't really matter. Who's gonna stop me?
I mean, what more can you say? And I think, yeah, definitely the last 18 months has really exposed the hypocrisy of the liberal world order, particularly regarding Israel's continuous onslaughts against the Palestinians, and also in Lebanon as well. It's been very much proven. I mean, we've seen cases where Netanyahu's plane has been flying over to the US, and it's flown over various European countries that have agreed to respect the ICC's arrest warrants, and yet they haven't summoned that plane down. So clearly, I mean, it doesn't really hold these things don't really hold any weight at all. And he's just going to be able to get away with it. The day that guy passes away, we'll be there. There'll be a world record broken with the number of people that simultaneously do a knee slide. But yeah, it'll be a glorious
Oh,
day. Glorious day in the
yes.
world.
Yeah, I'm keen to see Netanyahu go. The situation that the world has been put in by defending Netanyahu's pet genocide project in the West Bank and Gaza, and also his expansion into Syria, so often forgotten, invasion of Lebanon, like so many things that, and so many ways of talking that you would just never talk about like any other country.
Well, I think because they've learned they can get away with it. You know, you think back to when the Al Shifa hospital was bombed, and it was like, "Oh, we'd never bomb a hospital." 6, 7 hospitals later, probably even more. They don't even bother, like, trying to defend it because essentially the Western world has gone, "You know what? Mark your own homework." And obviously, when you mark your own homework, you're gonna be more lenient with your marking. And especially when there's no one actually checking it for you, even when you can clearly see that it's wrong. You know, when that one person holds that much power, you know, you're not going to say no to them.
It's again, it's that "who's gonna fucking stop me" principle, you know? Like, it's how Donald Trump operates, and it's how Netanyahu operates, because they are 2 sides of the same coin, and Joe Biden was so stupid not to see that. Like, he was so stupid not to just look at the way that Netanyahu acted and go, "Oh, this is somebody who's gonna stab me in the back. This is somebody who's, like, gonna, like, use me as far as I'm useful, and then go on to support like Donald Trump, which he did because he obviously liked Donald Trump more. It's just really obvious.
I mean, it's just it was an inconvenience to him to have someone like Biden there, but luckily Biden was so senile, and you know, APAC has got such a chokehold on American Congress people that it was very easy to get what they wanted.
Yeah, it's just like gun reform. Like the trying to get anything to do with gun reform passed is impossible because there's such bipartisan support, it seems, for Americans' freedom to bear
Yeah.
weapons to blow kids' brains
Again,
out. Like,
with private healthcare, when you have, you know, tens of thousands of people dying every year needlessly, because they can't get access to healthcare through their insurance. But then, you know, when you have senators and various representatives in Congress who are basically in the pockets of the pharmaceutical companies and private healthcare corporations, nothing is ever going to change, because you know their interests will speak louder than the American public.
Support independent media, support social justice that's there on social media. Thank you. Turn left.